This is Attorney Bob Diamond here to tell you about tax sale overages contingency fee agreement documents. Very important document. It's really the center of your whole transaction. And there are a few really important things that have to be in there. And there's some business things in there that you want in there that if not in there, you could lose the deal. So the first thing I'd say about it is you need a written agreement, number one. Because you're dealing typically in this business with at least thousands of dollars, often tens of thousands of dollars, and you're going to get paid thousands or tens of thousands if you have a good agreement in place. With no agreement, you're not getting paid. So we definitely need a good contingency fee agreement document. So let's talk first, what is a contingency fee? Well, contingency fee means that you get paid contingent upon, meaning depending upon, whether you recover the money or not. Because when we're talking about someone who's lost a property tax sale, they're not going to take the risk of paying you up front or putting down a deposit. They probably don't even have the money. So it needs to be an agreement that's contingent upon your recovering the money. That's the only way you're going to sell these deals, because you're not going to sell it if you're asking people to put up money up front. That's not going to work. So it needs to be a contingent agreement document. The things that need to be in there are just, first of all, normal contractual things. Identify the parties. So the person who lost the house, identify you as the service provider. Ideally, you're going to be working within an LLC or corporation, but if you're not, just with your personal name. So identify the parties. Identify a way to decide who gets what. And generally speaking, you're going to be getting a percentage of the monies recovered. That's generally. So we're working for typically 30 to 40% of the money that we help recover. You work for what you want, but you need to set that out clearly and precisely. Make sure that you also put in there who's covering the expenses. And when we sell these jobs or this work, then we're covering the expenses, but we get reimbursed when there's successful recovery. If there's not a successful recovery, then we don't expect them to pay anything, and that way they don't have any risk, because again, you need to sell this work, so you can't be asking people who've lost their house at a tax sale to take risk. Otherwise, you're not going to sell any jobs. So we need to make sure that we do that. But it needs to be clearly set out, like what kinds of things are expenses that you expect to be reimbursed for versus not. The way that I do it, and this is what I would put in your agreement, it should be things that are directly related to the claim. So for example, if you send a FedEx, you get reimbursed for that. If you hire an attorney to help you out, you get reimbursed for that. So if you send out a mobile notary, it's reimbursed for that. So it's direct expenses of the claim. It's not general overhead. The way I think about it, if you'd feel uncomfortable explaining it to your grandmother as to why you charge that money against the file, then you shouldn't charge it. This is direct expenses because of this file. You also need to make sure in there that you have an agreement as to if there's any dispute where any litigation is going to take place. And very, very important. Anything that takes place, if there were such a dispute, would need to be in your home jurisdiction. The reason we do that is that litigation proofs a lot of things, because someone does not want to come to wherever you are, wherever your office is, to hash out a dispute in court. This can be a complete litigation preventative, so that someone, if they decided they want to try to weasel out of paying or anything like that, they've got to come to you. A lot of times that just ends it, where you won't have any lawsuit. Not in this business, there's not a lot of lawsuits, but we always want to make sure we protect ourselves as best we can. The other thing you want to have, and what I put in my agreement, is a limiting provision that would limit any damages. Like, let's say, for example, that you're working on a big claim, $50,000, $100,000, that doesn't work out. Well, you don't want someone blaming you and then trying to, get the money out of you because they say, oh, you did something wrong, which people can make all kinds of, incorrect allegations, but you still end up in a court. So what we want to do is put in there a limiter, and what I put in mine is that they're limited to any monies that they gave me to pay for expenses. That's the most they could recover. So if they put anything into trying to get the money, that's the most they could get. That way they can't sue me and say, well, if I'd gotten that money, I would have, gotten my teeth fixed and I would have gotten a job and my life would have been wonderful, whatever. You don't want to be dealing with that. So you want to limit your exposure to only reimbursement for monies they give you in pursuit of the claim. You do not want to leave your doors wide open to, if they'd gotten the money, this would have happened or that wouldn't have happened. Absolutely do not leave that open. So make sure that you cover that. Also, make sure that they're prevented from trying to circumvent you. Because once you're working on the claim, then they'll probably become aware of where it is, and you don't want them trying to go down and claim the money. Now, I will tell you generally that's not ultimately a problem, because if the county gets 2 claims in, one from you and then one from the former owner, and they say, well, we've got 2 claims essentially from the same person, we don't know what to do, all the county does is they don't pay anybody. They generally just say, hey, you guys go figure it out. One of you withdraw your claim and we'll pay the one who's still here, but we're not doing anything. So generally that stops people from circumventing you, but you need that to be in your agreement. So language that is against circumvention. The other thing in your agreement, keep it as short as possible. My agreement is 3 pages. The shorter, the better. You do not want to dump on some former homeowner's kitchen table 20-page agreement with all kinds of dense legalese in it, because they're not going to sign it. They're already, when people are signing up in this business, they're already typically a little scared, a little uncertain, but they want to work with you because they want to get the money, but at the same time, they're still afraid. So you don't want to dump a 20-page agreement with legal jargon on their desk. It's really got to be simple, something as simple and straightforward as you can possibly make it. So what I did with my agreement was I made it in short, simple sentences, simple language, and I really try to stay away from any legalese. And don't do tiny print. Like, don't say, I know, I'll get 3 pages, I'll use 6-point font. No, it needs to be a font that people can actually read, because otherwise they're too scared to sign it. And this document is not only a legal agreement, it's also, in one sense, it's a sales document, because you've got someone that you're talking to that you know you can help. You can help get this money that they're owed, but you can't help them unless they hire you. And so you have to have an agreement that supports your being hired. So my agreement reflects our sales script, meaning what we say to people to get them signed up. Our agreement is tracking that, and yours should do the same. You should write yourself an agreement where it reinforces all the things that you say in your sales talk or your sales script, so that people trust you. You can't be saying one thing and then your written agreement says something different, because these are homeowners that have been through a really tough time. They lost their house at a tax sale, they feel terrible, and they're also going to be skeptical, because I will tell you truthfully, everybody we sign up at the beginning is skeptical. They don't believe that they could actually be owed or really get any money. They think that they have singularly special bad luck. And why do they think that? Well, they got some pretty good evidence. Their life got tough enough financially that they lost their house to tax sale. That's pretty strong evidence that maybe life is stacked up against you, or you just have especially bad luck. So make sure that you reassure them at every step and every turn, from your phone conversation to the agreement that you put on their desk, that it's safe to do business with you. Because when you're trusted, that's when you're hired. If you don't build the trust, you're not going to get hired. So make sure in your agreement, don't put little gotchas in there. Keep it in simple language, keep it straightforward, keep it so that they don't have risk, and just make sure everything's included in there. And also, don't rely on them to do anything with respect to the claim. I assume these people are as helpless as kittens, that they can't do anything for themselves and that they need me to do everything. I don't depend on them to go anywhere, to do anything other than sign up, give me permission to go pursue the money, and I will go pursue it like a rabid dog after a juicy rabbit. Like, I want to make sure I'm in control of the sense that I'm doing everything. I don't depend on them to do anything. So make sure that you put that in there, that you'll do everything, and that the only thing they'd be required to do is, if from time to time you need some information or questions, they'll help you out. But make that clear, that you'll do everything. Again, this helps you with your sale, because they are not feeling full of fight. Like, they're not like, yeah, let's take on the government and get my money. That is not where they are emotionally or mentally. You need to be a strong leader, and sometimes a strong leader picks up the other guy who's injured and carries him across the way, and that's you being a leader. And this is a business for people that are willing to take leadership in helping people back into a normal life, back into housing, back into life again. We have plenty of clients that are staying with relatives, they're staying in short-term hotels, some of them are homeless, and when we're done with them, we get them back into life again. Like the picture of the person you see above me, Carrie Johnson, she was literally in a homeless shelter when we got her money. We got her $32,000. Today, she's back in a normal house. She has Social Security coming in. She has a pension coming in. She has disability payments coming in. So she's doing fine. But it was up to us to take that leadership role. And I talked to her about it when I gave her the check, and I said, so when did you believe this was real? And she's like, oh, I barely believe it now because I haven't cashed the check. I'm like, okay. So very surprised by that opinion. But she's like, I didn't think I'd ever get anything. She said, I liked you guys. You seemed like nice people. She said, but I thought, it's never going to work out for me. And I had a lot of empathy for that. And I think you should too if you're really going to be in this business. And make sure you just make up an agreement that is as friendly as it can be. It's in clear language and it covers everything we've talked about. And that's how you're going to start your agreement. And as you probably know, because I think I'm undoubtedly the leader in this field, I've been doing this overages business for over 10 years. I'm an attorney, been doing it for a long time. We have a course that includes all the agreements that you would need, including the agreement I'm describing as the contingency fee agreement. And the thing I'll tell you, if you're taking this from a position of you're like, well, I want to get started, but I don't want to invest anything, like getting a course or anything, I'd say that's really not the right way to think about it. You want to get, when you're starting in a business, all the insight and guidance and leadership that you can get. And we make our educational materials pretty inexpensive. Our base course is $1,500 and has everything that you need to learn the business and get started in it. And it is a great investment. It takes like one very, very, very small deal will more than pay for that. And you get the education for a lifetime. When people try to do everything by themselves, it's really, really difficult. Unless you have someone who's in the business and is successful that is willing to take you on and mentor you. I just think you're looking up, if you're trying to like piece together something, I think it's just a foolish thing. You can do what you want, but I would just say anything that I do today, the first thing I do is look to someone with experience to help me out with it. And obviously I try not to overinvest or spend all my money on education, but nothing's free. And you have to make investment of your time, your effort, and often engaging expertise to assure your pathway to success. So my suggestion is if you're really interested in this, go ahead and grab my course. Go ahead and you'll have all the forms you need, have all the instructions, and you can also reach out to my office when you need support with different deals. We can give you support. So that's my suggestion. But either way, hopefully this was very useful to you and helpful. Definitely subscribe to this channel because I'm talking about overages and tax sales and entrepreneurship and how you can be successful, because I've been down that journey. In 2005, when I went out full-time as an entrepreneur, I went out because I just couldn't spend another day in a corporate law firm wearing a suit and tie, working with some people I really liked and some people that I didn't like, to put it mildly, and dealing with that environment. All corporate America is like that to some degree, and I just couldn't take it. So I had to be an entrepreneur, and I've built this wonderful, amazing life as an entrepreneur where I'm able to be home, spend time with my kids that otherwise never would have spent, be with them growing up, not just stealing time on weekends and nights, but instead really be with them. And I wish that for you. I wish that you could just have the life that you truly want. And I think for many people, entrepreneurship is that key. Now, it's not for everybody. I think entrepreneurship is not necessarily for those people that they just want to go punch a clock and leave and get paid. That's fine. It's a good, simple life. I think it's terrific. That just wasn't for me. But if you really do want something more and you're willing to fight for it and really work, then entrepreneurship is for you. Overages is one great choice. Obviously, if you're asking questions like, what's in a tax sale overage contingency fee agreement document, I'd say you're probably pretty far down the path, and just grab our educational materials and go do that. And by the way, to do that, all you need to do is, if you go down below, there's a link that will take you to a longer presentation that's the entire overages business, really steps you through what we offer, what we teach, and how this business works. Because if you're at the beginning, which I think if you're looking for the fee agreement document, you probably are close to the beginning, let us share what we have, and that presentation is a great place to start. Obviously completely free, doesn't cost you anything to go there, and we'll spend an hour or so together where I'll really give you an education in this. And then if you want our agreements and all, you can get that at the end of that video. So this is Attorney Bob Diamond. I'm really wishing you all the best. Just click on the link down below, take the next step, and I hope to see you in the winner circle where you're helping people get their money back that they never would have gotten. You have 70% of the time they don't get their money back unless you reach out to them or I reach out to them and catch them. And where you're making a great living the life of your dreams, captain of your own ship, and really able to control your own future. I wish all of that for you. So this is Bob Diamond. Like this video. If you like it, I'll give you more content like this. Subscribe if you want more content like this. And mostly, if you really want to take the next step, click on the link down below. go see my longer presentation and we'll get you started in the overages business the right way. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.